You're living your best life in a vibrant city like Saigon or Hanoi, enjoying the coffee culture and the energy, when you suddenly glance at your wallet and realize you're US. Credit card expires next month. It's that tiny date that carries a massive weight when you're thousands of miles away from home. Does that mean a mandatory flight back to the States just for a piece of plastic? Or is there a way to bridge that 10,000-mile gap without losing your mind?
It's the classic expat ticking clock syndrome. Most people assume they're stuck in a logistical nightmare, but the reality is actually much more manageable than you'd think. You don't need a plane ticket. You just need a bit of strategic communication. Most major US banks are surprisingly well equipped for this, but if you wait for them to act, they'll just send that new card to your old mailbox in the US, where it'll sit uselessly while you're trying to pay for dinner in Vietnam.
Right. So the default setting is basically your enemy here. If I'm proactive, how do I actually convince a massive bank to ship a high-security item across the Pacific? Do I have to change my entire legal residency on their system just to get a delivery?
That's a huge trap. Never change your official billing address to a foreign one if you can avoid it. It can mess with your credit score or even trigger tax red flags. The secret phrase you need is alternate shipping address. You call them up about a month early and explain you're traveling or temporarily residing abroad. If you're holding a premium card, like a Sapphire or an Amex Platinum, they usually treat you like royalty. They'll often overnight it via DHL or FedEx for free. It's one of those hidden perks people forget they're paying for.
That's a relief for the premium users, but what about the rest of us? I can imagine a smaller local credit union or a stricter bank like Capital One might not be so enthusiastic about shipping a card to Southeast Asia. What's the move when the bank says no?
That's when you pivot to the family forward method. It's a bit more cloak and dagger. The bank sends it to your family in the States, and they ship it to you. A pro tip for anyone doing this: tell your family to list the contents as urgent business documents rather than valuable credit card. It smooths out the customs process. But honestly, even before the physical card arrives, we live in a digital age now. The moment that new card is generated in the system, you can usually push it to your Apple or Google Pay via the bank's app.
So you're saying I could potentially be tapping my phone at a grocery store in District 1 using a card that hasn't even been printed yet? That definitely takes the sting out of a delayed delivery. But what about the local logistics? Vietnam's postal system isn't exactly famous for being easy to navigate for newcomers.
Exactly. And that's why you never use standard mail. If it doesn't have a tracking number, consider it gone. When using a courier like DHL, they will call your Vietnamese phone number the second they're outside. If you don't answer, they might not leave it. It's always best to use your office address or a building with a 2-4 hour reception. And look, the biggest takeaway here is redundancy. Never rely on just one card. If that one card gets swallowed by an ATM or blocked during renewal, you need a backup from a different bank.
It's a fascinating look at how our financial lives are still tethered to these physical objects, even as the world goes digital. It makes you wonder, will we even be talking about plastic cards in 5 years, or will this entire logistical nightmare just be a story we tell about the old days of expat life?
We're definitely in a transition period. For now, that plastic is your lifeline, but the digital shift is making the world feel a lot smaller. It's less about where you are physically, and more about how well you can navigate the digital settings of your bank account. Just stay ahead of the expiration date, and you'll spend more time enjoying the street food and less time arguing with customer service.